Hey guys, it's Kayla. I finally wanted to make a video about my leg injury. This was started January 22nd of 2015. That was just over a year ago, and I spent 2 months in the hospital, and it actually turned into flesh-eating bacteria. It's called necrotizing fasciitis. And I want to make a video about it. I know there's a bunch of people out there who've actually experienced this, and I didn't know anyone with it until I actually done some research. So I just want to make a video about it. I have a bunch of pictures to follow, so they can be kind of graphic. Personally, I don't mind them, but so what happened was I was riding a horse, and out of nowhere, like we were walking, out of nowhere, he went into a bucking fit. And on the fourth one I was leaning, and the fifth one I was like, I'm just gonna come off. So I just jumped. Well, when I jumped, there was a fence, and I narrowly missed my head on a pole, but instead my leg like cartwheeled over to the fence and right on the fence. So it actually dented my leg. I wasn't sure you could dent, but you can. A 2x6 can dent your leg. And I was really glad it wasn't broke, but looking back, it may have just been easier had it have been broke, but that's okay. So I went to the doctor the next day, just the regular. I could still walk on it. I knew it wasn't broke. It wasn't something like that, so I could still walk on it. I went to the doctor the next day, and she smashed on it, smashed above it, smashed below it, and says it's just a large hematoma. Sorry, it's just a large hematoma. It'll go away. It's just a big bruise. It's okay. So I have a few pictures I'm going to show you right when it happened. Like I was laying on the ground, and I had a friend with me, because I always have someone with me when I'm riding, and was like, take pictures before it swells. I need to see it. And then 3 weeks later, so during this 3 weeks, it was fine. It hurt to walk on it, I had a little limp. Well, I just crushed into a fence, so yeah. Well, 3 weeks later, it started swelling, 3 weeks to the day. It got bigger and bigger and small. First it was red spots, then they turned purple and black and busted open, and fluid just started draining out of my leg. Which you would think, or I thought, oh good, I'll relieve some pressure. Never once did I actually think, oh, this is some sort of infection. I just thought, oh, my leg's irritated. And actually I jumped out the back of a truck the day before it started swelling, but I tried to land on my good leg. And I said, oh, well, I must have irritated it when I jumped out the truck. So, when it started swelling, I think the next day, or maybe that day, when it started swelling, because it hurt. It hurt worse than when I initially got the injury. So, I went to the doctor that day. Same doctor. She sent me instantly over to the hospital for, I get an ultrasound. Anyway, to check for blood clots in my leg. And it came back fine. So she said, well, I'm going to schedule an appointment with the surgeon, talk to him tomorrow. So it was a Friday. I went in, I don't remember the exact date. Probably like the 14th. Of course, it was like Valentine's Day. I'm in bed and can't move. So I think I went into them around somewhere around 13th, 14th. And he looked at it. Well, he didn't know me personally. So he didn't know what it looked like 3 weeks ago, what it looked like now. It was just swollen. At this point, I don't think it had any spots on it. It was just really swollen, and I actually was on crutches. It hurt so bad. And he says, well, we can cut it open and smash the hematoma out of your leg. It's like grape jelly, by the way. Or it'll heal quicker. Or we can let it heal on its own, and it'll heal longer. Well, I'd never had surgery. I'd never broken a bone. I'd never needed surgery. And I was like, I'm just going to hold off on that. I don't want it if I don't have to have it. Well, that was a Friday. Saturday, I couldn't get out of bed. Sunday, I couldn't get out of bed. Monday was a holiday. But I called his office on Monday and said, look, this is what's going on. I think I need surgery. They had me in Tuesday for the pre-op. Wednesday, I had surgery. February 18th, I never got out of that bed until until April 7th. They let me back out of the hospital. So It's pretty scary. Okay, very scary. Scariest thing in my life, actually. I ended up having 13 surgeries. I think 9 was at this hospital, and then they sent me to the next big city, where I did the other 4, including a skin graft, from February until almost the end of March. They had me on so many drugs that I didn't know. I mean, I knew I was in the hospital, but I didn't know where I was. I didn't care. I slept. And if I woke up, it's because I was in pain. And they would give me more and put me back to sleep. They threatened to put me on a feeding tube at once because I wasn't eating. Well, since I was sleeping. I was drugged up. I didn't want to eat. When I did eat, they said I would order a plate of fruit. Well, and pick at it and then go back to sleep. So, going from never taking a pain pill in your life, I don't even take ibuprofen when I have a headache, to months of being drugged up will do lots of things to you. Mentally, physically, emotionally. It's not good. But anyway, I want to save all of that for another video. I'm just trying to show you pictures in this one. That's what you want to see, right? A lot of people that contract necrotizing fasciitis die. 1 in 4 people die. And the majority of the people who do live lose your limb. At least one limb. If it gets in your blood, you lose multiple limbs or your life. They told my family, don't think she won't lose her leg. I was drugged up, so it didn't matter to me. Oh, whatever. You want to take it? Take it. You're one of those cool, springy feet. Well, I was able to keep my leg, thankfully. So now I want to get to the pictures, and I'm going to kind of go through them, and I'm real fast, but kind of let you know a little bit of what happened with each one till we get to the final part. So this was while I was still sitting on the ground. Dent in my leg. Another angle, dent in my leg. My boot was thrown off. This was the first night. It was swollen. I had it propped up. This was a few days later. Still swollen. And then this is when it really started. Now it hurt. It swole. It was red. It was hot. I was keeping it propped up and iced every day. You see it's getting bigger and bigger. I was on crutches. My whole foot was swollen, everything. When these spots started coming up. And they got darker and darker. And what this was my tissue dying inside my leg and trying to come out. And it was just dying. It was killing my tissue. And that's what these spots were. And then they started busting open and oozing this horrible dishwater colored liquid, and was such an immense pain, ridiculous pain. So this is pre-op. This is the day before my first surgery, and it busted open in the waiting room and started pouring. This is the day of surgery. This couple days later, I had a wound vac on, and that's a black sponge on my leg. That's all the fluid they were pulling out of my leg. That's a black sponge, so my leg wasn't really black, thankfully, or at least not at this point. It was later. They had this is the outside of my leg. They had also cut open the inside of my leg, but I don't think I have any video or footage of that. The color started to change, the stuff coming out. They were happy to get me in a chair finally. I didn't even know I was in a chair. This is the worst photos I have. However, the doctor said that this was not the worst that it got. Apparently, just no one happened to have a camera at that point. It was eating my leg away. Every other day they were doing surgery and going in and pressure washing my leg, debriding it. This is the first time I stood since I went in the hospital. And this was the skin graft they took from my thigh to put on my lower leg. So after the last surgery, this was just after the skin graft. So you'll see there's tons of sutures and everything. You stop on those. It's kind of neat looking back at it now, but then it was just painful and scary. But the doctor, they did such a good job. They only had to do one skin graft. They never had to go back and do it again. These were all April 3rd. I actually got released from the hospital April 7th. So February 18th to April 7th. So they had a drain in my leg. That's still the padding from the skin graft. I'd just been home for a few days. They had home health come out and change my bandage every day for probably a few months, or just say probably a month. Somehow the back of my knee had a skin graft. I don't even know what happened. Maybe it was sitting on medical equipment. Healing. At this point, they told me to keep it unwrapped, which I was so worried I was going to hit it. That was my thigh healing from this, where they took the skin. I had to have a bandage on my ankle, or my heel, because it had a bed sore from sitting so long. And I never was on crutches. I was on a walker for you can see in the background, I was on a walker for a very long time. And from the walker, I had to go to a cane, so it was a huge transition. And I was on the cane for months. See, I couldn't even wear a tennis shoe on my foot. My toes didn't function. Tons and tons of physical therapy. And watching Booth, of course. And these two pictures are from therapy, where they were almost like massaging the scar tissue to get it to slow down. I meant soften the tissue, not slow it down. But here's the video of my leg I took just now. So you can see, I didn't lose my leg, and that's really the most important part. I didn't die, and I didn't lose my leg. And like I said, I had a lot of other mental and emotional damage. The physical damage is fine. It's nothing to deal with. There was a lot of therapy. It still hurts occasionally. Mostly it's numb from nerve damage. And I have most of the use of my leg back. There's just a few little things that, my heel really doesn't touch the ground anymore. But if I wear certain shoes, it does. Not heels, but I mean like a boot with a slight heel on it. Then it touches. So, hey, I'm happy. I'm here. And if this is something you are going through, don't worry. It'll get better. I know you feel it that way. Anyway, guys, I'll make another video one day on the emotional and mental and drug part of it, but this one I wanted to show you guys. I know this happens more than people think. I didn't get it from the board. I didn't get it from water. I didn't get flesh-eating bacteria from the ocean. It developed in my leg just from all my dead tissue. So, it's a little scarier than you think, but alright, y'all have a good day. See you later. Bye.